Welcome to another episode of Panakal Podcast for Geeks, round 2. This is the one about WandaVision. I believe I fixed my audio issues. Tom, if you're watching, confirm for me, please. Apparently, something was broken. Let's see. Yes, good to go. Thanks, Tom. I appreciate it, man. Feel free to watch if you want. So apparently in Streamlabs, there's multiple channels for multiple audios, and I could have put each one of you guys in your own channel. The point is to record separate channels in case you want to move audio around. I don't know what happened, but apparently I was on channel 2, and I just spent time downloading the whole video, and it still put me in a muted channel. It never downloaded channel 2 for some reason. So if anyone knows how that shit works in Streamlabs, let me know. You guys missed some golden stuff in the first episode that we recorded. I will try to piece that into the second part of this, so at least people can enjoy Carey and Tyler talking about Wolverine's
Wolverine
abs. Let's start over
Don't
again,
worry,
I guess.
we'll work it in ourselves.
Yeah.
It's got to be natural, or it's not as fun.
That's fine. Let's see if we can hit those same jokes again. That's the thing. You know, this gets me all the time. I did an episode back in the day with.
Right.
I mean, I thought they were
I
funny.
was thinking about Wolverine. I don't know.
I mean,
It's like that just thinking about those beans joke, but it's just thinking about those Wolverine.
I got to get back in the mood here because I've done this before. I did an episode back in the day with my friend Gavin and his girlfriend Drea, and we did a whole thing on collectibles, and it was amazing. And YouTube deleted the whole thing after it uploaded. Like, it just went away. And that's when I switched over to Twitch, and that's why, because Twitch saves it, then I upload it to YouTube. But either way, my guests are Tyler Broussard, Lucas Durham, and Carey Drake. And I feel bad that they have to sit through this again.
What a warm introduction this time around.
I know.
I'm sorry.
So
I heard our names this time.
I said your names the first time.
These
You know what?
Big
I said
head
your names the
waiting.
first time. They just didn't hear me, okay? I can't-
This is
I
true.
don't know what to tell
this
you
was a better
guys.
introduction.
So, let's start over with WandaVision.
Spoilers.
Spoilers. Now that you
There
now
will
you guys
be
can hear me,
spoilers.
there will be spoilers here. So,
If you're not up to the latest episode, run while you
Yeah.
still can.
where do you guys want to start? We were so deep in it too, man.
Yeah, we really were.
Well, wait, you have your notes, so why don't we start off with
Let's
your
just
notes?
start with the
this
notes.
time?
Okay.
That would be the. I think that would be the best move.
So what I've got some theories in my notes. One was that Wanda has a character in there that named Agnes. That's basically fans think that Agnes is short for Agatha Harkness, who is the witch that in the comic books trained Wanda and how to use her abilities. And then she's in this show theoretically, and it's basically we're trying to figure out is. Tom, if you didn't watch it yet, Tom just said, "Oh shit, I didn't watch it yet."
Oh my god!
I
Well,
hope
we
you're
haven't
joking.
spoiled anything yet, except not
Other than the
any fourth
fact
episode stuff.
that a big T-Rex shows up in the middle of the show.
Absolutely, yeah.
So like the theory, we're trying to figure out is she there to help her or is she there to harm her? Because the other thing I was talking about is she always refers to her husband Ralph, and one of the theories online was Ralph means wolf, and that's one of the ways they refer to Mephisto in the comic books. So there's a theory that she's working with Mephisto. Obviously none of this is proven. That was in my notes. The other thing was I was trying to figure out if this took place before or after Age of Ultron. It obviously takes place after. I was trying to figure out if it takes place before or after Endgame. And if you watch the last episode, spoilers again, you see a dead Vision with the stone ripped out of his head. So that suggests this is happening after
And
Endgame.
the blip.
And
Yeah,
the blip. That's right.
Everybody
And-
came back from the blip.
And the blip, which she's here come back in.
Let's cram all those spoilers in.
I'm trying to get to the good ones. I did have a theory that this probably involved Hydra, because see Hydra a bunch of times, and I brought up the fact that the show keeps ending with hexagons, and I believe it was Lucas who said that it's potentially AIM.
AIM, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
which is like a subsidiary of or an offshoot of Hydra. Yeah.
It's the write-off company of Hydra.
Right.
You also mentioned that
write-off.
they changed this what the sword acronym meant
Mm.
for the purposes of the show.
The hell?
Are you taking a photo of yourself, Carey?
Huh?
Sounds like a camera went off.
Oh, that wasn't me.
Oh.
Oh,
Okay,
that may have been me turning my heater on. Sorry.
Oh, no worries. Yeah, so sword in the show, I noticed it stands for Sentient Weapon Observation Response Division. In the comic books, I believe it stands for Sentient World Observation Response Defense. I believe it was Carey. You had a good point that Vision is technically a sentient weapon. So that would make sense there. But also I'm trying to figure out, like, how do they know? They know eventually Vision's in there, but this division's just... Like, was this whole division set up? This is totally not in my notes either. I'm having this thought right now. But like, was this division set up primarily to focus on things like Vision? So
well, Ultron was a sentient weapon.
Right. So there's other things out there like them probably, and they're like, we need to keep track of these things.
Well,
I mean, but they were always.
Yeah.
Because it was a prototype for Vision. It was intended to be a prototype for.
Right. Of course. Yes, but. That being said, yeah, so I think it's completely feasible to say that it was set up to monitor Vision, which would have put it in a weird spot post Endgame.
Well, because like the one guy, the leader of Sword, like in his exposition line, and it kind of said like they were monitoring stuff before, and now they're. So like at least my reading of it was that like this was set up after Captain Marvel. Because that was like...
Well, they said that... what's her name? Rambo.
Monica?
Right. Monica's
Rambo.
the daughter, right? What's the mother's name?
Right.
Yeah, what's the mom's name?
Maria Rambo.
Maria, yeah.
But
they
she
say
was
that
Photon, right?
She's Photon, yeah. That's her call sign. She said they say she was one of the founders of Sword. So yeah, so it probably was set up after she met Captain Marvel and was like,
Well, because that was the MCU event that showed that okay, like aliens exist,
right?
So we're gonna set up our own space force to deal with.
Oh my god, why would you bring that name up in here?
To like look to monitor for outside stuff, and now that they've basically defeated, I guess, it in Endgame, they're like switching priorities to like monitor like robotics and stuff on Earth. Because like they're probably the division looking after like all the Chitauri tech. That was,
Well,
yeah.
Well, you also in this post Endgame,
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
You have the entire Stark Empire, Sand Stark.
Yeah.
As well.
Right.
Yeah, I forgot about. So okay, we're talking about new stuff now, which is good.
Yeah.
Well, also, they probably
You can only extrapolate about Wolverine's abs so much.
See, you were talking about Wolverine's abs. Carey was talking about his
oily
his chest. You're right. His oily chest. I'm so sorry.
Carey was very
motions
specific.
are really helping.
Carey was very specific in his tell. So. Well, the reason we were talking about Wolverine, I'll bring that up, was the rumor online is if you saw episode 4, the rumor online is this is leading towards a House of M story angle, and I think the thing that piqued that rumor was if you watch the end credits on the fake show, on the show there, the first episode shows one of the creators of Vision, the second one showed a creator of Wanda, and I believe this last one showed a creator who wrote House of M. I don't know if I believe that's what it was. And so people were like, oh, this could be a House of M angle, which would be perfect to introduce. I was talking about the X-Men, because the X-Men are integral to the House of M. And because in the comic books, Wanda and Vision, like I think Vision was mainly in the Avengers and Wanda was always a mutant on the X side of things. So that would be a way to bring those worlds together. We were all curious on how they would introduce the X-Men, and before we realized audio wasn't working, the conversation was they'll probably hire a younger group of actors and actresses to play the part of these mutants because they'll probably be in the series for a long time, and
somewhere in between the first class actors and the former
the theory
X-Men roster.
What they're saying online is Marvel was I don't know if it's Kevin Feige that said it, but they were saying that the first Bryan Singer movies you saw and the first Class movies you saw will just become alternate worlds in the Marvel universe. Because if you
That makes sense.
I don't know if you guys have been reading up on the new Spider-Man movie at all, but
Mhm.
they're bringing
Well,
in
Yeah.
all the Spider-Men from the other movies. Like Tobey Maguire is going to be in there from the Sam Raimi films, and
I'm pretty pumped. That's
Andrew
great.
Garfield is going to be in there from, I forgot that director's name, but I actually enjoy all those.
I didn't hate any of the Spider-Man movies, really.
I didn't either.
I know they get a lot of. I know the old ones get a lot of flack online, but I thought they were, especially for the time. I say old, and they're not that old. But
I mean, the
I
third
guess they're
one
old for
was
you youths out there.
Some of these kids are watching thinking, "Who is Spider-Man?" So,
They're like, Tobey Maguire. Is he a baseball player?
Right.
that dude was cut in that role. Versus Garfield, who's like, I ain't gonna lift shit. Whatchamacallit.
Oh, but what about Tom Holland? Sweet baby Tom Holland.
I honestly think Tom Holland is the best one out of the batch.
That's
'Cause
because
he
he's
plays-
a sweet baby.
He just plays the character the way he, so when I first, I'm going to segue off into a Spider-Man thing right now, but when
Let's
I
do
first
it.
saw Spider-Man, that's what the show does. When I first saw Spider-Man in Civil War, where he does the flip, catches the shield, and then he starts
So
talking,
cute.
that
Yeah.
is a Spider-Man you grew
It
up
was so great.
reading.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
I was literally like, that's it.
He's like, he's got superpowers, but he's so weirdly relatable. Like, this is the
Yes.
shit you would do if you had superpowers.
Like,
straight
if
up.
I had that
Like, hell
ability,
yeah,
I'd be like, you
parkour.
want me to climb the buildings? Pass. I don't like heights. You know? Like, how high do you want me to swing? I don't think so. That guy's gonna fall. You know, like,
Right.
that's the same. I love it when actors and directors get the character enough to give you that feeling. Because the last time I had that feeling was Batman vs Superman is not a great movie, but the scene where Batman shows up in the warehouse and wrecks those dudes, fuck any scene with Batman in it. That's Frank Miller's Batman. That's the Batman I grew up reading. Like, he just wrecks those guys, and I was like, welcome Batman, where you been this whole time, man? You know, like. And then on the opposite spectrum, you have the Nolan Batmans that are very human. Like, that would be you if you were in a bat suit. At some point, you'd be like, man, my fucking knee hurts. Some dude's robbing a bank right now? You know, like, let the cops handle
And
it,
then
you know?
you have the Tim Burton Batman.
Oh,
Hey, man,
yeah.
we're going to do a whole
Look,
show about
Michael
those.
Keaton. I love Michael Keaton. Okay, I stan Tim Burton.
He's in the
Batman.
next movie. So DC is trying to do their
So-
own time hop thing too, right? So
Oh man, but
Keaton-
Michael Keaton was so good in Spider-Man. Sorry.
yeah, I mean, he's
But I love
good
him.
in
He's
anything.
so great. He's just good. He's
Yeah.
great.
He
I mean,
is.
they're gonna bring the Vulture
Huge
back.
fan.
There's no way.
Yeah.
Let me put it this way: he made the Vulture cool. Let's get
Yeah.
back
He
to.
made the Vulture really fucking cool.
Right.
Yeah.
Let me bring us back to WandaVision.
And
Sorry.
relatable. Also, made the Vulture
Yeah,
relatable.
he's relatable
Yes.
as shit.
I mean, that's the one thing Marvel does well with their characters, I believe. You know, like, I feel like there's a lot of, like, how will this character really exist in the real world? And then if
Right.
they were existing in the world, how will they handle... And that was a problem with the early Marvel films and Marvel shows. They just threw them in as their comic counterparts versus what you're seeing now. Like, you're getting a real feel for this is what's going to... Like, the people coming back out of the snap or the blip. Is that what they call it? The blip?
The blip.
And,
there was
yeah.
a snap and then the blip when they came
Right.
back.
Oh, the blip is them
Yeah.
coming back. Right. So,
I
like...
think. Don't quote me on that, but I think
That scene
Let's-
in this
let's
episode
quote
where
Carey
everybody's
on this
come
in
back from
case
the
it's not
hospital
right.
was so strong.
Yeah, the scene where she's in the
Yeah,
hospital
oh,
and
it
all
was
these
so
people are
good.
coming
When
back
people
in.
were coming back and they didn't all come back at the same time and the chaos, like, you never, like, we acknowledged mentally that that was what would happen when they came back, but obviously they made it such a cool scene in the movie that we didn't, the chaos wasn't really, like, embraced, and then to
Right.
have them acknowledge exactly how fucked up that was, because we hear
Mhm.
about it in, like, the Captain America movie or whatever.
Yeah.
I think it was Captain America, right? Where we hear about, like, how there are people who, like, got divorced or something, and then their wives came back, or, like, they thought their wife was dead and they move on, and, like, all that stuff. To see it happening real time was really great.
I mean,
Right.
And
you
if
get
you
to
I
haven't
was
seen the latest
interested in seeing
episode,
was-
I'm so sorry.
what I'm interested in knowing about is people that were in airplanes when the snap happened.
Dude, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
You know?
especially
I wanna
if
know
you
what
were
happened to those
especially if
floor
you were a
fox.
pilot.
Right.
Oh
my
yeah.
God,
Oh no, I
yeah.
get what Carrie's saying. If they came back in the sky.
In the sky.
Yes.
It's
Just
30,000
in the sky.
feet.
Oh crap!
Like-
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
That is like,
I
or
want
if you're
it-
driving
I
a
need
car.
Marvel, if you're watching, which you're not, and you've already filmed the whole show, but I really need there to be, like, a throwaway line about people like that. Was
Yeah.
like, well, you heard about what happened about flight 1417B, and it's just like, yeah, they just landed in like the Hudson.
Right.
25
Okay.
people came
Fish them out of there, yeah.
down and splattering all over the ground. You know.
Yes.
You know.
Right.
Yuck.
Sorry.
Damn,
That's
that's
a good
a
turn.
no.
No,
That's
it's
a
great,
that's
though. I
a
love
very good point. Like I didn't even think about like because like when you first hear about the people coming back out of the snap or the and
What if they came back into the middle of a wall?
I thought the same thing. In
Like-
5 years, they probably built some structures.
Yeah.
yeah, because
And
you only
somebody was
see them
standing
come
right where
back.
there's a wall now.
You only see them after they've been back, and you don't see any of the. That would be a good way to introduce some chaos.
Right.
Damn,
Mhm.
Carey, we gotta message Kevin Feige and be like, this is a missed opportunity to scare the crap out of people.
Well, I feel like that's kind of
Exactly.
the intent on like this latest like WandaVision episode, because like, you know, in Far From Home it was all played as like a joke, you know, with the band coming back in the middle
Yeah.
of the
Mhm.
basketball game and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think like they're like slow rolling us into like, oh yeah, like you said, people fell from the sky because they were in a plane and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find
Well, I
my
think another
notes.
thing, though, and a reason they may not actually, I mean, I don't actually expect them to go into that, as cool as funny as it would be, but I think that it actually highlights one of the strengths of Marvel that DC doesn't have in their cinematic universes. DC would totally go into that, right? We'd have like a
Right,
30-minute section of a
Yeah.
movie where we'd watch people fall from the sky just because they're like, this is dark and real. And then they'd miss out on all the character development that Marvel does. Marvel's like,
Yeah.
all right, we're going to see this, but only through the point of view of Monica. Only through this character's point of view. Instead of DC is always about the big picture, but that's why their movies are hard to connect with, because we don't have that feeling for
Right.
the characters.
Yeah, you have to let us want that character to thrive, essentially.
It was I think it was much more valuable for us to see Monica wandering through the hospital where people are coming back in on emergency beds and all this crazy crap, and she finds out her mom's been dead for 3 years. Like,
Yep.
sure, I want to know what happened to the people on the plane in the sky, and I think that's hilarious, but I also appreciate that they're probably going to gloss over that in favor of following.
I mean, also, what a way to kill off a character. They killed off Maria
Right.
Rambeau, who I thought was a cool character in Miss Marvel. Captain Marvel, sorry.
Something really realistic. Yeah.
Um,
Cancer.
And they just were like, okay, also, you know, I know for a fact that actress is now playing the new James Bond. So I wonder if, you know, Disney being Disney, they're just like, that's cool. You want to go to that production house versus us? Bye. You know, and they just snuff you out because that's what they do. I made that real dark. But I was going to talk about the Fantastic Four connection that they hint at, because so there's two parts.
Said Reed Richards.
So I said Reed Richards because we're trying to think of a way where they would introduce either Reed Richards or Professor X into this universe. And one theory was Reed Richards could come in as a scientist that's been called in to figure out what this dome world is, right?
Yeah.
Or Professor X could be called in to telepathically talk to Wanda and be like, chill your shit out. Your dude's dead. He's dead. But as far as the X characters go, I like the House of M. Angle. As far as the Fantastic Four goes, you know, what I wrote in my notes was they had blue, black, and white are the sword themes, which is also the same colors that are the Fantastic Four outfits. And then Hayward and Monica. Hayward is that director. When they're talking, he says he talks about an astronaut training program that apparently isn't going too well. And if you know the Fantastic Four, they were part of an astronaut training program where they got radiated. Essentially, Marvel's answer to
Microwave.
every superpower. Yeah. Radiation, microwave, gamma rays, X gene. That's the list, right? So no one comes from a strange planet initially. But that would be a good way to... But then I was thinking, there's no way they're going to bring Reed Richards in because he's probably in space right now. So it's possible he could be like, I just got back from this wild-ass mission, man. And now I'm here in...
And I'm stretchy.
Yeah, I'm stretchy.
Okay, but also Ant-Man.
Oh, yes. You talk about the Ant-Man theory. You're the one who had that.
I didn't.
We all think Ralph
me.
might be.
But I just was here to talk about Ant-Man. Because we were talking about how time travel. We were talking about how we wanted Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to be the tie-in show for the movies, but it didn't happen because they went fuck wild in the last few seasons, and it was because they decided to have time travel, which is, I think, always a mistake with a TV show. There are shows that have done it well, but I think when you've got that many seasons behind you to then throw in time travel, kind of screws everything up. But either way, I was like, time travel was handled well in Ant-Man, and then we talked about Jimmy Woo being there, and then the possibility of Ant-Man being Ralph instead of Mephisto, which would be literally the greatest thing of all time.
That would be pretty awesome.
I would die.
I
want him to be their weird
I still want Mephisto too. I'm kind of like with Carey's camp on the Mephisto angle. I kind of want to see what they would do. I guess I understand. In my head, I still feel like it would be difficult to pull off, but Carey has a good point that they've done so many wild ass things in the Marvel universe that they would figure out a way to still knock it out.
I mean, they made 2 Wolverine movies. Why would they do that? They made another Wolverine movie after the first one, which was wild to me.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the one where he's in Japan.
The first one was really bad. Yeah,
but
we
it
all
gave
tried
us
to
the best
forget.
version of Deadpool, though. You got to agree.
I mean, you're gonna skip over the Gambit storyline in there, like that Gambit storyline was. I was excited to see Gambit on film for the first time.
Everyone wants to see Gambit on film, and then they did that.
And then I think they still have what's his name signed up to play Gambit.
To be fair, though, I really hated their the first few X-Men films. I really hated their Rogue. Just hated her.
Yeah, they made her. She's not that character. You know, they made her.
They made a completely different person and called her Rogue. And I'm like, no, Rogue was always really self-possessed and not like this sad girl. There's nothing wrong with the sad girl character, but they could have pulled a different character for that role.
Well, that's what I'm hoping when they
could have used a different X-Men. They didn't.
That comes down to Fox not knowing the characters, just wanting to own the products, right? Yeah. And that's the best thing about Marvel now owning these properties again, because those are their babies and they understand how they work. So that's why you're getting all these movies and you're like, this movie's great, and they did a pretty decent job with it because now Marvel is in charge. So and thankfully Disney's smart enough to be like, let them do their thing, to a certain degree.
Well, yeah, because they want to make money, and Marvel's good at that.
I think
don't interrupt.
They probably learned from watching Spider-Man 3, where they're like, "Can we get Venom into this movie?" And Raimi was like, "Nah," and they're like, "Do it."
Yeah.
And you're like, "This is supposed to be a Sandman movie, but now you've got Green Goblin and Venom running around in there, and it's
and then they gave Venom the short shrift, and it's like Venom and Carnage were great. How could you do that to me personally?
And Sony still owns the rights to that character. How could you do that to my childhood? Sony still owns that character because that movie was not that great. The Venom movie was.
I didn't even watch the Venom movie. I'm sorry. I was just like,
you're better than the rest of us.
I'm not gonna watch it.
It's.
I watched the trailers and I think that was enjoyable enough.
I think it was good enough to watch. It's not a great movie. It's 2 hours of. Hey, that's a cool visual effect.
Well, they're gonna bring him into.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like it would be. It seemed like
they're bringing him into Spider-Man 3.
Venom. We love Venom.
Yeah,
they're gonna bring him into Spider-Man 3. That character, Tom Hardy's character. But again, I'm gonna pull us back into WandaVision. So there was another thing we were talking about, Westview, and how that sheriff says Eastview, and what I wrote down here is the sheriff's deputies are from a town called Eastview. Mephisto is also known as Lucifer, as in Lucifer Morningstar, and the Satanic Bible says that as one of the princes of hell, Lucifer's domain is in the east. And the one thing I also realized, if you look at his license plate, is it says 1966, and if you look at it closely, the 9 looks like the 6 has just been turned upside down. Mark of the devil.
Yeah. I feel it's a stretch. I don't go along with that one.
That's fine. You can go fuck yourself.
Aren't we so glad that Alan's audio is working? I already would have missed out on that shit.
I think, I mean, no, I get it. That one's a stretch, but the
Oh,
I
but
feel-
the stretches are the most fun, I think.
I mean, I think those are
Especially
like
if it
those
turns
little
out it
hints,
is
right?
Mephisto, then you're like, oh,
Right.
fuck, bitch, I was
No, but-
right.
If I'm right, I'm gonna message Carey first.
You are.
I'll be like
You gotta
666
video
mother.
call him and be like, fuck you.
I'm just gonna be like Groku. for nobody, so the
Grogu.
people that
Grogu.
didn't hear that story. Carey has a habit of sending me spoilers before I get to watch the
did
show.
one time. That's not a habit. One time.
Carey has a habit of sending me spoilers before I get to watch the show.
Oh, no.
And he sent me the name of this character, but luckily I thought it was a typo and I had no idea what the word meant, so I just glossed over it for a couple hours.
I mean, I still don't know what the word means, and I've seen all of The Mandalorian. I'm like, Grogu, really? That was your choice?
That's just whatever. I want to know who. I'm not going to segue into a Mandalorian talk right now.
Right?
I
Nope,
would
okay.
actually. What I would like to do at some point is a whole Star Wars thing, but we can do that later. Let me see if. So the other thing I had in my notes was because people were asking, how is Monica able to go through the force field,
barrier.
right? The barrier, and not get hurt by it or affected by it. And in the comic books, she is a character that is made up of pure energy, I believe, and I think her code character name is Photon. She takes her mom's name.
Yeah.
So initially, I was like,
I'm
"That's
hoping
probably
for that
why."
really hard.
Well,
I think they don't have enough, not to be preachy. I don't think they have enough non-white representation in the Marvel lineup. So
yeah,
it'd be
totally.
really great if they could make Monica a big deal. And her actress is so enjoyable. Her screen
that's why the
presence
Miss
is
Marvel
fantastic.
series.
Right.
I'm waiting for the Miss
Yeah.
Marvel series to come out because that's going to be amazing too.
Oh my god, I would. Yeah, I'm gonna kill. I'm killing for.
I mean, people are
Kamala
mad
Khan's
about
Marvel.
that the actress choice, and I'm just like, are you mad because she's a person of color, or let's just leave it
Yeah.
at
They
that,
were
you know?
mad when Kamala Khan Miss Marvel came out. They were like, she's Muslim.
Correct. I get it.
And you know what? Fuck those people. For
Right.
real. If you're one of those people,
let's not
and you're
let's not deep dive into that. But yes,
Sorry.
no, it's fine.
I got really excited.
My
thought
thing
I
was
gonna
like
get to say
initially
fuck you, too.
I thought that her abilities or her hidden abilities are the reason she was able to go through the barrier. But then you see the dude in the hazmat suit goes through too.
Beekeeper dude, yeah.
And he
I thought that
becomes a
was so tight that
beekeeper.
he turned that's how she fit him in the universe. Because we were thinking that before we saw episode 4, my partner and I discussed it, and she was like, "What if the beekeeper suit was just the universe making sense of the
This thing
guy's
showing up,
outfit in the same way that it did with the helicopter?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh shit, you're so right. Like it was probably a hazmat suit, and then it was a hazmat suit, and
Yeah.
it felt really good." I feel like the whole 4th episode was like, I don't remember if it was the 2nd or the 3rd episode where they did the magic show,
Yeah, second one.
but I feel like the 4th episode was almost like the magic show was like the magic show sequence was like a
Being
do you
revealed to
call it?
us.
yeah, like a precursor to this episode in the way that it was rolled out, where they'd show the trick
Yeah.
and then they'd show and I thought that was really
That's
cute.
actually
I
a good take on that because you're like,
Yeah.
what is that? And like I noticed also things like, I like the fact that they
Except for Wanda, she did the reverse. They showed how the trick was done, and then she covered it up.
Oh, they don't
Because
show
she's
you.
in
They don't tell you what
control.
happened to that guy when she reversed stuff. By the way,
Do what?
so everything gets reversed, right? And things get
Yeah.
like shoved out. But that beekeeper guy, he looks right at her, and she's like, "No," and then she reverses back like 20 seconds or something. Did he
Well-
just go back down and out?
He
don't
might
know.
be in the sewer. But we
He's
don't know.
actually the same actor shows up later.
Yeah.
As serving
Oh,
ice
does
cream at the magic show event. So she might have just incorporated him.
No,
Because
but
he
he
wasn't
shows up. He shows up in a.
incorporated.
No, he was in that. Wait, he shows
So-
up serving ice cream at the magic show.
Yeah.
Which
'Cause
is
the magic
later.
show was-
Oh, no, it's not later.
It's
was
before this.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's before because she's pregnant whenever she sees the beekeeper.
Yeah, you're
So-
right. You're right.
That
Oh
was
yeah.
at the very end of
So
episode 2.
it was probably just a Easter
All I know
egg.
is that I think that character's name was Franklin because they keep saying Franklin, I believe, right?
Like Franklin the Turtle.
Sure.
My kid, the only one who
Also, I
watches
did
it.
notice that the helicopter had the same colors as Miss Marvel, so I don't know if that's any
Yeah.
significance.
Hang on, before we get too far away from this, from the beekeeper dude in the hazmat suit, he's crawling through the tunnels, right?
Right.
He passes through the force field. His
Mhm.
tow cable comes unhooked. They reel it back in, and the last
It's like
foot
that.
of the tow
Yeah.
cable is an old-fashioned jump rope.
Yep.
Mm.
What the hell? I thought that was a
I think everything that goes into
trying-
that barrier has to
when-
turn into that
when
era.
When Monica comes
Whatever
back out,
she-
she's in Geraldine's clothes.
Exactly.
Right.
By the
Things
way,
change.
is that not the greatest way to get like a really good vintage clothing collection going? The first thing I thought was like, I'm gonna go through there when she's in an era that I like, and I'm gonna get
She
some
got to-
sweet threads.
She
I'm
got
gonna
to
walk up there
keep
and be
it.
like, Pietro, Ultron, hi.
She got to keep that outfit too, right? Because when she came
Right?
back through,
Yeah.
It was
you know
so
what?
dope.
That's a missed
Huxtable shirt
opportunity.
You were talking about.
That's a missed opportunity. Because when she got shoved back out of that universe, they should have let her change back into the outfit she was wearing when she went in.
I think they did that on purpose, though.
I think they want us to see that she's actually affecting reality.
Yes.
Like it's not just an
Ah.
illusion. She is actually changing things.
I think that's how we're going to get Vision back.
Oh, they do
Right.
hint at
Oh
the.
my God,
they do hint
please,
at the
please.
barrier growing. Remember, the guy
Paul
says how
Bettany is
close
such
are.
a good Vision.
They
Yeah,
say
he
how
really
close
is.
are you to that the radiation, and then she says right now we're far enough. It's growing though. She said what's her name? Darcy. Darcy's
Yeah, I
character
wonder
says
if
it's growing.
Geraldine's. Sorry, why did I call her Geraldine? Monica's gonna be all irradiated or something.
Maybe
Ooh,
that's
do you
how
think
she
that's
gets
how
her
she
powers.
gets her powers?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
That would be a good
I'm
way
here
to be
for it.
like, now she's super powered and she can do this
Yeah.
stuff. Dude,
Well,
I was like, how did she not break her back? She went through like 5 walls on the way out.
Right?
I know. That's what I was thinking. It's like they need
Yeah.
a medical team.
I wouldn't even gotten out the words, it's
They're
Wanda,
looking
it's
at her
all
with like
Wanda.
a flashlight. I'm like, shit, y'all saw what happened to her. Well, no, they didn't.
She's
That's
just
right,
like,
they
she's like,
didn't.
it's Wanda, it's all Wanda. I would have been like, get me to a doctor.
Yeah, I would have been like, holy shit, does anyone have any ibuprofen?
Yeah, I'm like, my back
I
is
need y'all to be
jacked.
like House and give me some Oxycontin. This is bad.
But the idea that like the premise that like that gives her powers, like that got me thinking. So there's 13,000 people or 1,300 people in this town. Could could everyone be getting powers? Like, could that possibly be like the catalyst for like the mutations? coming
Wait,
into-
though.
Oh my god, like Inhumans?
Everyone else, hold on
Yeah.
though. Everyone else didn't go through the barrier. They were
That's
in
true.
the barrier when she created it. So I think
Hmm.
that the catalyst for powers is that she went through the barrier, which is weird for Beekeeper Guy. Maybe Beekeeper Guy doesn't survive, and then Monica does, and it's because of her mom or something.
Maybe
But
Beekeeper Guy becomes the
Then the
Teenage
other
Mutant
question
Ninja
is,
Turtle.
if Agnes is there, and Agnes is actually her mentor, maybe Agnes is protecting the townspeople because she does stop.
Oh, that's
What's
true.
his name?
Mhm.
She stops what's his name before he'd get into serious trouble saying something. different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're all.
Well,
I
no,
think she's looking
feel
out for
like-
everybody.
Yeah, she might, but the thing is, it's like if she's looking out for everybody, is she looking out to protect them from Wanda's rage or Mephisto's rage?
Right.
Unclear.
That's, like, who is she more?
Because
who is
Wanda
she-
looks surprised. She didn't look surprised, but when she used her powers to eject Monica, she knew what she did. But she also, like, the look on her face was a little weird, wasn't it?
Well,
Right.
she
She
was
looked at
like,
her
"You're not
hand.
supposed to be here. Who are you?" Almost
Yeah.
as if she didn't realize a character she had created was there. That
I think it had a lot to
Sorry.
do with her having to face reality for a minute.
because she's
Yeah.
an
Yeah.
Ultron.
Pietro being killed,
Right.
during the Ultron scuffle, and then
Her blasting someone through several
and
walls.
that is the moment that she turns and looks at Vision, and we
and
see
sees.
his corpse.
Yep.
That was so sad. I honestly, like, my hot take on the show is that it's all super depressing. Up into this episode where we get Kat Dennings back, which was super fun, by the way.
Mhm.
I like her.
I was really
Yeah.
worried they just drop her after the Thor movies, and I think she's a great actress, and I love her as Darcy. So
Yeah,
I'm glad
I
she's
would-
come back. I wish she had gotten her coffee, but
She got a cup
have
of
everything.
cup of noodle soup.
But I also
she
wonder.
didn't. Yeah, but she dropped it on the floor.
Oh, that's right. She did drop it.
Tragedy.
So I
But
also
no, like
wonder-
up and.
Oh, go on.
Go.
Oh, I was just saying, I think that the show so far has been like really sad. Like this idea that she just came back from the blip, and now she realizes that everyone else a lot of people ended up getting their loved ones back, but she's not going to get that. She doesn't think that she will get that happy ending. We obviously don't know at this point.
Right.
And she's imagined this like sitcom world because it's a comforting thing for her. And she
Yep.
literally invented children. Like, how depressing is that? Like, she made up children. And she had
Right.
this invented, hilarious sitcom-esque pregnancy where she magically pops out a baby from behind a couch. Like,
I was
and
willing to
it's
let
really
that go
funny.
because it's just it's like I'm like, this is like a sitcom. This is how a sitcom.
well, no,
character would
that's
have
the
a
joke.
baby.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was obviously the joke. Like, she just, like, Monica comes out and she's holding a baby magically, and it's
Right.
perfectly wrapped in its little thing, and
And
it's
like
cute
5
and
months
clean. And
old.
yeah, and her
Yeah.
clothes are not ruined at all, and her makeup is perfect. Because we all
Let's
know
not
that's
gloss
how
over the
childbirth
fact that
works.
Those are the only children we've seen so far in this town.
Yeah, and they
Oh,
keep
that's
saying for the
true.
children.
And
they
the
keep
magic
saying
trick-
for the children. At
For the
magic show.
children.
That's
For
right.
the children,
That's
which is
so
super creepy.
Yeah.
Lucas, what were you about to
There's some
say
creepy
a
stuff
minute
going
ago?
on.
I'm sorry.
You had a thought?
Oh, just kind of like from a meta perspective, I'm just wondering if they we mentioned like Darcy coming back. I'm just wondering if they're possibly using this to remind people of like other players in the MC universe that we just have not seen in forever.
Yeah, because isn't Nat Portman coming back?
She's coming back as Thor.
I almost wonder if they might like reintroduce some stuff like way back when, like, you know, kind of mentioned AIM, you know, with the hexagon possibly being AIM, you know, that's a reminder like, hey, this is another group that was introduced in Iron Man 3 and you haven't thought about them in like 6 years.
I mean, that's a good way to do things.
That though.
Yeah.
And like, I wondered if there was like other things that might be even further back, like some of the characters from like the Incredible Hulk movie. Because like we really haven't thought about that in 10 years.
I don't want to see the Abomination.
Well,
the movie.
I'd be just happy if I never see that character again.
Yeah, like, I feel like maybe.
You know, like
I don't know if they're gonna incorporate that.
Cool,
like, cool.
I get what you're saying though. Like it's a good like surprise for you if they introduce an old team or villain that you have completely forgotten about because you've watched like 12 new movies.
Right. Well, because like, you know, General what's his name was brought back in like as a director in Shield and stuff, or not director, but you know,
right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you know, what's his name, the scientist that helps Bruce Banner in that second movie,
the Norton. You're talking about the Edward Norton one.
Well, the Ed Norton movie, which is still MCU.
Yeah,
like there was I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I was just interjecting. It was the first MCU movie.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So like there was a scientist in that movie that like we kind of saw. They kind of set up like, oh, he's going to be a character later on, and of course, like the movie failed, so like they kind of, you know, swept it under the rug.
Yeah.
But like I wonder if they like might try to bring that guy back because I think he ended up being a Shield asset.
I think he is in Shield for sure. Yeah.
So,
and that's what I'm talking about with Shield, man. They had they had these like perfect chances to, you know, I think they're learning from those mistakes. And that's why they're like, okay, look, we've got also Shield was not a Disney product, I think, when it first came out, right? Maybe it is ABC, but they didn't have the money, they didn't have the budget for it. And now when you see shows like WandaVision and, you know, Miss Marvel's coming out, and there's at least 3 other shows. There's like a Blade and something else. They're all big budget, like movie level shows, you know. So I think that's why you're getting like when you're seeing what we're seeing right now with WandaVision is not just this half-assed television show. It's like watching a movie. Like the special effects are that good. Just the scene where Darcy shows up and goes there, like equipment's all set up, and she pulls up all these like gadgets and all that, and you're like, damn, that's some high level CGI effects there, where they're trying to see the map of the town, and it is an octagon or a hexagon. The map itself.
Yeah, I was going to say, whenever they talked about the hexagon or octagon thing, I thought they were just talking about the barrier shape.
No, the barrier shape. But if you watch the end, at the end of, I believe it's at the end of the second and third, maybe each one. I'd have to look again. But the montage goes into a hexagon that zooms in.
Yeah.
Oh, it does.
Didn't what's his name, the FBI agent, like he wrote on the whiteboard what the heck is with the hexagon?
Yeah, he wrote. Yeah, I was gonna say when you said hexagon, I thought you were talking about when Jimmy Woo was writing on the whiteboard. By the way, I'm so glad they brought him back. Also, he's fucking great. He's a Carey. He's funny. He's cute.
I don't know who this person is, but you shut up. I got one comment that said "shut up." It's like, okay, cool, man.
Oh. Well, here's the problem, person commenting. Alan was shut up for the first 35 minutes of this podcast. And we had to read it. Dude, how long do you want us to be here in our various sheds and basements? Some of us have to eat food eventually.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
Can't stay here forever. No, we're actually not bothered. I just think it's funny.
You know, new to Streamlabs, I didn't realize I was on channel 2. So.
I just am so bad with OBS that I quit using Twitch, so I feel you. What were we talking about? Something about the hexagons and Jimmy Woo being great.
Yeah.
Well, the Jimmy Woo
Yeah.
angle is what brings us to the Ant-Man stuff, right? So it's like, let's
Yes,
see if they introduce.
does.
Because what's that technology called in Ant-Man?
Pin particles.
The pin particles. Yeah, I mean.
There
that-
you go.
that could
I was
come into
like
play,
big
too.
fancy word things. Oh, hey, while we're talking about Ant-Man, we mentioned last time, oh no, I forgot already. We were talking about Ant-Man being Ralph, which was funny, but then we had another good point about Ant-Man, and now I lost the thread again.
The trail was like Jimmy Woo comes back. He was sort of like Scott Lang.
Oh,
was
the missing person. The he was in witness protection. That was it. He's looking for someone in witness protection, and we're wondering if that's Ant-Man.
We wonder if it's
which
Scott
would
Lang.
be literally the great. Well, the other thing is we've hardly seen any of the male characters except that one scene where he went to the bar,
Right.
and got gum stuck. Vision with gum stuck. That
Oh,
was
yeah.
so great.
That was awesome.
That was a weird.
Yeah.
Like,
See,
I was kind of like, I guess that little piece gunked up your whole system. But I get it. It's for the sitcom aspect of it.
And it's also Wanda.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
Well, yeah, because we still haven't determined.
Sorry. How did you guys like the sitcom stuff? Like
I like I said,
people-
I grew up watching a lot of those shows, so it was very nostalgic for me.
I dig it because it's like Nick at Night, but
Mhm.
in the
But
Yeah.
that was-
Oh man, Nick at Night. Ah.
See, that was what I was hearing from a lot of people like that were detracting from it. They were like, "Oh, if I saw, if I wanted this kind of content, I just watched Nick at Night." And it's like, well,
Okay, I have one point.
but
One point of contention with it. I
Yeah.
think that it was really well done. I love it. I think that the homage to the old sitcoms is fantastic. It makes a lot of sense for Wanda as a character because of her age and how she grew up, etc. My only complaint is that I really think the show would have been until this episode. Now the episode a week thing makes sense, but until this episode, those first 3 episodes I think would have made more sense if it were like a Netflix style dump where they just put all the episodes up at once.
yeah,
Only because the first episode has very little weird shit in it, besides
Yeah.
like the dinner party, and then it was really like weak, kind of like it. Like
Right.
it didn't have a real climax.
Well,
Well, I think
And
they
if it
released
were a
episodes 1 and 2 at the same time, probably for that
right,
reason.
but even episode 2, I think the climax was the magic show and then the beekeeper at the end, right?
Yeah.
right.
And
Yeah,
I
but I
still
get
feel
what
like
you're
that
saying.
was not. It just I definitely am glad they released both at once because I cannot imagine anybody watching the people complaining about the show premise would
Mhm.
never have watched the show again if they just watched the first episode.
right.
Right.
And
And
then
I feel like that's what's happening with a lot of. That was my only takeaway that on people that don't like this. It's like I tell my friends, I'm like, you just got to watch past the first 2 because it is definitely weird. And if you're not willing to give it a shot, you watch the first one. I watched the first one. And I was like, what did I just watch?
Right.
And
Yeah,
then
that's
I,
how
and
I
then I
felt
was like,
too,
I
but
missed some Easter eggs in there. That's probably what happened,
Yeah.
But I feel like at the same time, it would have been a little bit of an easier pill to swallow if it were like a binge dump, like with Stranger Things. Like I don't think Stranger Things would have worked as a episode a week show
No, it
because
wouldn't.
there's no monster of the week in this show. There's no
Right.
like big problem. It's that you're building up towards the end of the show climax. Now that we're on episode 4, I think the format absolutely works. I can't wait till next week. I'm really invested, but it really took the first 3 episodes to get to that point.
Right.
And maybe even the 4th episode, and now it's fine. But I think that a lot of the complaints probably stem from
Now we're all
more
sitting
than
on this.
anything else.
Now we're all like, we want to know what happens.
Now they've like
got
showed us
there.
behind the curtain, and now we're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Right.
But I also noticed that I don't know if they did a specific way for that for a specific reason, but I also noticed at the end of like each episode, if you look at the timestamps, they're all different. Like, most shows are like 43 minutes flat, 40,
Right.
45 minutes flat. This is
Yeah.
like the first episode's like 20 minutes. The second one's like 23, I think. The third one's 36 and the new one's 43. So it's
Yeah.
like climbing.
Yeah.
I don't know if that means anything or not.
Now I want to sit down and like do some math and figure out if there's
Yeah.
something.
There's a trajectory or something.
It might
Yeah,
actually-
get real crazy with it.
Yeah, it might be syndication times too. Like for the first 3 episodes.
Oh. Ooh, I like that.
and like look at like, oh, how long was it? I Love Lucy episode?
Oh, dude, I didn't even think about
man,
that.
that'd be awesome.
That's meta.
I gotta ask.
it.
I gotta
well,
add
didn't
that to
they
my
get
notes.
like era accurate cameras and shit?
Right.
Did anyone else read about that? Yeah, they got era accurate equipment and restored it to film. And then you notice like when they switched to the 70s, the format of the
Yeah, it
screen
gets
changes.
widescreen.
Yeah, I loved it. That was so the attention to detail. There's a lot of love put into the show.
Yeah.
Which is really fun to see.
And that's why I wish the detractors would kind of take a step back and just wait. Because I mean, if you look at all the MCU movies,
I think they just need to be told that it's not always for them.
And that too. But if you look at all the MCU movies, the worst one is still pretty good. So these people have built up this trust.
Okay, but which one do you think is the worst one?
Probably Incredible Hulk.
Probably.
Oh, if we're including that one, that's a give me.
I am because officially it's in there. But besides that, the worst one is maybe Thor 2, The Dark World.
You didn't like The Dark World?
But see,
by the way,
I think
Tony agrees with what you're saying.
It's still pretty good. You know,
I was gonna say you're when you're digging through gold, like there's gonna be one piece that's like scratched a little bit more.
Exactly. So I feel like the detractors need to just hold their horses. Let's see what happens. I know you don't dig the whatever the old show format. You think it's weird. It is weird on purpose. Yeah. Let's see how it plays out, and then you may be glad you saw those episodes.
That's always been the hard sell with fanboys and fangirls. Is fangirls a thing?
Fangirls.
I think fangirls are usually a thing for that's a different thing. That's what was it? That was Wolverine's oily chest is fangirls.
Oh, that's Carey. Carey's a fangirl.
There it is.
But yeah, that's always like the hard sell, right? It's like getting that. So like you have us who read the comic books, who love the shows because we read the comic books and we love the characters, and we're super happy to see these characters come to life. So we accept it even as far back as the Eric Bana Incredible Hulk movie, which is a big pile of garbage.
Well, then you have me here for oily chest.
Yes. Okay. Moving past that. But then you have the level of people who. So the main aim for these movies isn't us. It is us on a lower tier. The main aim are building the new fan base of people who don't read the comic books. What they're trying to do is eventually if you like the movies enough, you might go read the comic books, right? You might be like, I want to learn more about this character, so I'm going to go read about it. Yeah. But even if you didn't, they're fine with that. It's not their initial aim. Their initial aim is to build a fan base of movies and shows. And that's why they're fine with people like us being like, that's not how that character is.
Well, I feel like the stuff they're doing with this show too is like really like high level on like like from an artistic point of view. Like this is a frame story, right? So we're following this plot of a sitcom, but it's actually a story about Wanda dealing with her grief from Vision, but it's also a story about Sword becoming relevant again and everyone dealing with the blip. And it's like this is some like Geoffrey Chaucer Canterbury Tales kind of shit. And I feel like the people who are complaining about the fact that they're doing it in the format of a sitcom, it's a TV show that's being meta about TV shows.
Yes. Yeah.
Like you gotta appreciate that shit. It's a TV show that's commenting on the comfort of sitcoms and the comfort of that unreality. Right. That idea that this is what your life should be like. This is what a happy life is. Yep. And obviously neither Wanda or Vision are particularly happy. Like they say they're happy because they're hitting relationship milestones. But like the meeting with the boss and the weird neighbors and the PTA meeting, it's a lot of it's confronting the awkwardness of that reality, which is really cool. So I feel like the people who are complaining are missing a lot of that subtext.
Yeah.
And another thing I don't want to gloss over is in those old sitcoms, after something crazy happens, and within this 30-minute segment, everything goes back to normal.
Right.
I think that's a very important point here because I think that Wanda is trying to make things.
She's trying to create a normal. Yes.
She wants Vision back. All this crazy stuff happened, and she wants things to go back to the way they were.
Yeah.
Right.
That is
and it's in each episode the level of doctoring that she has to perform escalates, but that also removes her from her perfect reality.
Yeah,
exactly.
And Tanya has a good point. She said, I agree that sometimes detractors need to realize a thing isn't for them, and that's okay. And that's
right. Yeah, it's okay if it's not for you. Like, absolutely. But the thing is, it may become for you if you give it some more time.
Yeah,
I think it was. It was a cold open for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, especially now, because like, I mean, I feel like 10 years ago, the gatekeepers were the guys that like, oh, you know, we've invested in the comics, like these are our characters, and like after a decade of this, like the people that are watching the movies, and that's the primary characters at this point. Like the comics are almost a secondary, because I mean, you know, I love comics, but the industry as a whole, like it's bleeding money, you know. You know, I could totally see, you know, God forbid, I could see like a point where they just closed down like the comic publication.
I mean, they came close.
I really hope not, because I still really want to get into comic art
Are you
as
crazy?
like an artist. So please don't die. But I think that it's like every other form of print media where they're really struggling with increasing cost and then less people buying.
Well, so, they did. I think in the case like Marvel and now DC is doing it, but Marvel introduced their digital comic books.
They're so
which
great.
I read because it's.
I love motion
all my
comics are awesome.
Well, I have the Marvel Universe, I think it's called, because I can't always read the paper comics here with a kid and leave them out because she'll ruin them. And all my comics are in storage, and sometimes it's hard to get those out. So the digital version is the best way to read them. But my point is I feel like they might have burned themselves a little bit, because a lot of people are signing up for those subscriptions versus going into a brick and mortar store to buy a physical copy of the book, right? Also, they have a bad habit of overprinting things. It's like, man, maybe you should test the market to see if it's popular before you put out a bazillion copies of a thing, you know?
Right.
X-Men, House of M, I'm sorry, not House of M, but Powers of X and House of X, the last two series from X-Men, now they're on Sword of X. They've been doing phenomenal, to the point where I can't even get a single issue without paying. If you want a paper copy of like issue 1 of Sword, it's like $20 now.
Wow.
And I'm like, I'm not spending $20 just to read this. I'll just read it on the app you guys I pay you for.
That was me trying to get the alternative covers for the first issue of Squirrel Girl.
Yeah, I mean, that's a cool find though, right? You get it. Like the alternative covers are like a rare. Like I have.
I wanted them, and then I saw how much money they cost, and I was like, I don't wanted them that badly.
So like I feel like they, you know, DC did their, what's it called, New 52, which I get it.
DC Comics are actually strong though. Like their universe
coming
sucks.
back. Because
their
of the
new
fact
Batgirl, when they redid her many years ago now, I guess. God, I'm old. But that stuff, that was solid. And the Harley Quinn cartoon, which we're not here to talk about, is
I mean, the point is like the comic books, the comics industry is people. I feel like a lot of people just don't want to read anymore. They would rather get this entertainment value from a thing, and that's why that industry is doing better. Even if the DC movies aren't that great, they're still doing pretty good, because there are DC fans who actually are enjoying. Like,
we might be shitting on them, but like they made money.
I mean, the last Wonder Woman movie is apparently made the most money on HBO, and it's been the most viewed movie on HBO.
What was the thing they just put out? I forgot.
1984.
Yeah, 1984.
Oh, right, Wonder Woman 84, and I heard that was lukewarm. Yeah.
Well, these Marvel movies are.
Wonder Woman, I got to give it to him. First Wonder Woman kicked ass.
Yeah. First Wonder Woman.
See, I'm like the only person on the planet who really did not like the first Wonder Woman. I feel like I don't know. I couldn't get into it. I think if they had gotten rid of the male lead, I would have been into it.
That's the problem we have with
I don't think he needed to be there.
Movies.
Then you're not gonna like 1984.
Yeah, you're not gonna like 1984.
No, I know I'm not. That's why I'm not gonna watch it. I'm like, that's fine. The only DC property I'm down with now, of all things, is Harley Quinn, which is funny because until the cartoon came out, I hated her. I just couldn't stand her.
Yeah.
I was always a huge fan of Ivy, and oddly enough, Catwoman, because of the
a cool
TV
character,
show.
Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, then they made that Halle Berry mistake movie.
Oh God, that movie
which is terrible because I don't
never
dislike
remember
Halle
that
Berry,
movie.
although I also think she made a terrible Storm.
Yes.
Everyone in the Bryan
stuff.
Singer one was. You gotta keep in mind, everyone who acted in the Bryan Singer movies were acting into characters they knew nothing about.
Yeah.
Like
I know, but the pixie cut, and she's like.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. They should have given her the mohawk. She needed the mohawk right off the bat.
She needs the mohawk.
Yeah.
But I was saying to someone that I thought Lupita Nyong'o, is that how you say her last name? I think she'd make a slap and Storm.
Ooh, yeah.
Give her a mohawk, yeah. And like give her the creepy white eyes instead of like regular people. Make her just look scary as fuck, and make her
they do that
like,
in X-Men
make her
Apocalypse.
gain 50 pounds of muscle.
Yeah, and X-Men,
We got Mohawk
person
Storm
they
in
cast.
X-Men Apocalypse.
Yeah, we got better. Yes, she was much better.
Yeah, I like
sure.
that a lot better.
But I meant like grown up Storm because she's
Yeah.
still kind of young in that one.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean,
I don't
we
know.
should definitely do a whole episode on X-Men. Apparently,
Yeah.
Obviously.
and the first half of it will be us trying to cast actors to play.
Well,
these
that was
parts.
okay. That was one thing I was going to say though about WandaVision is if they're going to go House of M, it's going to be kind of weird, isn't it? Because up to this point, we've had all of this shit with the Avengers having to be regulated, etc., and we have not, and we even had Civil War, and we have not had any X-Men involvement. So where the fuck have they been? That's going to be some
they've been hiding.
retconning.
Mutants have always.
Because that's
they've
the
been
whole
hiding.
idea, though. Like she's just gonna basically retcon the world, right?
Right.
Is like a possibility.
That's fine. I'm okay with that.
Well, you can do
I
it
would
two
love
ways,
to
right?
see Wanda be like this ridiculously, as she should be, ridiculously powerful.
You're gonna do it
entity
two ways. You're either gonna have. I don't think just randomly dumping mutants into the reality is a solution. I think the way to do it is mutants have always been in hiding until they become a reality to the world. Like Inhumans is a thing right now in the world. There's a whole showdown about it. They exist in the MCU, and Inhumans are.
Did anyone actually finish watching it? Because
it was not good. But the series, the idea of Inhumans,
after the first couple episodes,
the ideas of Inhumans is actually, hey, Kirsten, thanks for tuning in. The idea of them existing, because when you first meet Inhumans, you think they're mutants, but they're not. They were created, I believe, by the Skrulls, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So, but their abilities appear to be mutants. So you can easily
Mutant adjacent.
You can start introducing mutants into the MCU, but like this might be how they come out of hiding. Maybe I don't know. I don't know if I like the idea of them just being dumped into the reality, because that's a cop out.
Even the first movie was kind of like expressing it as like, oh, there's always been mutants, but like the X gene is just starting to really spread out amongst the population.
That could be it too, because they have to all awaken eventually, right?
Right.
If I remember the original X-Men, they used to say that they awaken when they hit puberty, but then later on in the X-Men comics, they would say their latent abilities would awaken as they were triggered by some catastrophic event.
Exactly.
Right.
There's my thought.
There it is. I saw it on your face as I was saying it.
Yeah, I could tell you wanted to say something.
So I think that the mutant phenomenon started. I believe there probably have been a few here and there, but I think the big mutant phenomenon is going to happen because of the snap. So because you remember in Endgame, was it Endgame? Yes, Endgame. They register that the way they find Thanos is they register a gamma pulse halfway across the universe.
Yeah.
So the snap would have created that same gamma pulse on our planet, and that may have been what jumpstart
the X gene.
The X gene.
I like that.
Oh man, okay, that's not a bad take.
Yeah,
that would work.
That would work.
Yeah,
I like it. I like it.
I think it would be great, and I also think there would be a lot of angry fan people. But I think at that point,
that's a go. Anytime something.
I mean, that's the way you got to figure out a way to introduce these things
it's like, look,
cinematic
when you want to
universe.
get some X-Men, when you want to make an X-Men omelet, you got to break a few gamma eggs.
Break a few fanboy eggs. I don't know.
I mean, let's do it.
Like I was saying before, you have to introduce. You have to figure out a way to introduce these things into a movie and a television universe, a cinematic universe. That's what I want. Because in a comic universe, you're just like, it's a random DNA splice, and you're born with it. And if your parents were a mutant, you're most likely a mutant too, because you're gonna get their DNA. But in the movie
Lady
world,
Gaga, unbeknownst to everyone, was the leader of the movie.
I wouldn't be surprised if she leads the Morlocks.
She's gonna be like
she's gonna be the leader of the Morlocks.
Oh my god! If they tagged her in to come in as a cameo, I would absolutely die. That would be so great. She's like, we were just born this way.
Oh god! Please.
I love it.
I'm just gonna mute you now.
No. Only use your powers for good.
I mean, I already muted myself for the first 30 minutes.
You did. That was sad.
So do you think WandaVision is going to introduce like the the next big bad for for this next, like, I want to call it season 5, the rollout of the 5th thing. Like, are we
Well,
gonna?
because WandaVision is supposed to be the intro to the new rollout. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I think they've already introduced the big bad.
It's only 9 episodes, though,
You
right?
think Thanos is the big bad? Or are you talking about in the show or in the Marvel
In
Universe?
the show, I think they've already introduced the big bad.
Which is Mephisto?
Tell us more, Carey.
No, it's Wanda.
I think it's Wanda.
It's Wanda.
I would love for Wanda to be the big bad, but I want
Yeah,
her to come back around.
So here's what I think is going to
So
happen.
what you're giving me is a Buffy, what was it, Buffy season 6 arc with Willow?
I have no idea what that means.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think
You
you're
get
right.
it?
Yeah.
I get it, but
That's what
I
I
love the
want.
fact
That was
that
my
Carey just
favorite.
admits it.
I hate that they fridged her girlfriend. That was awful. But also, angry evil Willow was just like everything I wanted from life, and evil Wanda is also everything I want from life.
I don't think she's. So yeah, Willow was
She's
evil,
not
but
evil.
in the
I'd
case
say
of Wanda, I
Willow
don't think
was-
Wanda's going to be
Willow
evil.
was evil, but she was also.
It's
I could-
kind of like, what
you
would
could
you do
understand
if you
her.
lost someone you loved, right? It's
Oh, hell
exactly
yeah.
what it comes down to. And
Yeah.
I like that theory,
What would you
Carey.
do?
Like, but do you think maybe she's being controlled by somebody into being that way, or do you think she's doing it on her own free will?
Right.
I think it's a little column A, a little from column B.
I think it would be interesting to be both. Yeah.
Yeah. Like
I
somebody's
think-
nudging her in that direction.
Someone's
Yeah.
making because they want those
Right.
two. They
I
need the
think
2
she's-
babies in there, and they need all the because they keep that for the kids episode was super creepy.
Yeah.
Because they're like for the kids, and then 2 twins show up, and you're like, those kids? Oh crap, those kids! Like
Yeah.
when you realize who they are, you're like, oh, this is going a specific way.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe they'll do both.
I think Wanda's reality is going to be what becomes this multiverse of madness. That
Well,
Well,
Doctor
if you read House of M, when you get a chance, it's on the app. You can read it for not free, obviously, if you pay for the app. But that's the whole.
You're giving us homework.
I'm telling you can do your homework if you want to, or you can slack off. But the main idea behind it is that she creates her own alternative reality because
Right.
she's tired of the main world, which is hunting mutants down and hunting people like her
Gosh.
down. And so she creates
Would
this
you say
alternative
she's
reality.
tired of these world and being entangled in these human lives?
Come
That was a
on.
really bad rip off of a Dr. Manhattan quote. I'm sorry. I can't
get
remember
it.
the quote exactly.
If you're gonna
Look,
quote
just-
it, at least Google it.
I'm trying not to look at my phone. I've been so good. I don't have 2 monitors, unlike some people.
Get on our level.
I've got a Surface Pro, okay? It's an old one.
But like
If I open anything else,
creates
it'll
an
crash.
alternate reality essentially for them to live in a utopia, right? Because the mutants are all living there and they're all happy and that's I think what she wants is utopia with Vision, because she says at the end of that last episode where he goes, we can go anywhere we want, and she's like,
This is our home now, yeah.
This is
Right.
it. So she believes even with all the stuff that's just happened to her, including a person she has no clue who it is, who she just shoved out, which kind of tells you she also knows she can remove things she doesn't want in her paradigm.
Mhm.
Right? She threw her straight back, not to go fight her, just out, like get out of this dome.
Right.
Well, so for those of you who are TV show trash like me, I'm getting real Dolores from Westworld vibes from Wanda, right?
Yeah, you can
'Cause,
get
like,
that.
She's got this twisted, except she's not fighting for a whole race. She's fighting for a reality. It's as if Dolores had gone to the alternative world created for the AI, instead of fighting for their right to be on Earth.
Right. Well, and I don't know if they're changing reality too. It just seems like, I don't know, like you had mentioned, like the whole idea of like the Doctor Strange and like the madness. Could there possibly be, what I'm trying to build up to is like, could that also be one of the reasons that we might be seeing like a Spider-Verse entering as well?
Yeah.
Like,
I hope so.
I mean, you're about to, like, we talked about Spider-Man 3 bringing in Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield from the other movies. So yeah, that there's probably a break in the reality somewhere, because in the Marvel universe, they have multiple what do they call them? Other worlds? No, Other Worlds is a DC thing, I think. There's Elseworlds. And like the main universe that we're seeing, the main universe that everyone lives in is the 616 universe. And then you have these other universes that are edging around us essentially, and things can shift and change and come together. So I feel like what's happening is these universes are coming together after the snap. Somehow I don't know how to explain that part of it, but you're getting because you're getting the Spider-Mans in the alternate reality. You're getting potentially X-Men and Fantastic Four into our reality. That's how they bring them in, because they didn't already exist. So I guess that would be a way to do it.
Yeah. Well, and we're getting an Eternals movie too, right? So like that's.
I forgot about the Eternals.
That would probably be. This is probably an event. If like Wanda is totally shifting reality, that would probably be an event that like even like the Eternals. We know that if you've seen the Loki trailer, they definitely bring in the Living Tribunal, and it seems like if I'm surprised they didn't bring it into the Infinity War, just because like that seemed like a cataclysmic event that those insane power level characters would be brought into.
The Celestials, you mean?
Huh?
You mean like the Celestials?
The Celestials and stuff, yeah. But I could totally see them like trying to bring it in now if Wanda is just totally changing all.
Oh my god! Can you imagine if like Galactus shows up?
Right.
That would be dope.
Not the way he showed up in that Fantastic Four movie. That was garbage.
Right.
But like
which
Galactus,
that would also bring in the Fantastic Four then. Like if all of a sudden these like
and the Surfer.
Crazy celestial beings.
Wait, does that mean Paul? No, Doug Jones played the Surfer. Yeah. Never mind. I was gonna be like, does that mean Paul Bettany has to play two characters, but Doug Jones played the Surfer?
Yeah.
I had a thought about the Elseworlds thing, but I forgot what it was.
I'm just impressed by the scope of the movies. Like when they first started doing the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I would have never thought that they'd successfully pull off Thanos, and they did, or like all the space shit, or all the ridiculous Asgard shit.
Right. Yeah.
Even if Dark World wasn't a great movie, the fact that they were able to incorporate that concept was solid. And then now, and so before the first season, if you will, of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I would have never thought, oh yeah, they can do the multiverse. But now I'm like, yeah, they could probably fucking pull off the multiverse. Like, sure,
well,
like
when I first saw Doctor Strange, I was like, how are they gonna do Doctor Strange? Because you got to take him into this like crazy reality, because he's bending time and all this sorts of wild stuff. And then when you first see them like running around in that world, you're like, I am not high enough to watch this. You know, like it's so crazy. But they did such a fantastic job with that character. Yeah. Like I was super worried that they were gonna, because he's what are they called? There's like a cabal in the Marvel universe that's basically like the Illuminati in the Marvel universe. It's like,
don't they?
Are they called Illuminati?
I think they are.
Okay.
Where it's like Professor X and
yeah, it's Professor X, the Black Panther, Doctor Strange, Captain America. I forget. And you know, he's very, so those are characters you cannot screw up, like, because people will rage quit you, you know. And you know, the thing with this series is I heard that what they're trying to do is bring Wanda into the Doctor Strange movie, and he will be the one to train her. So that was my segue into he might show up in this show at some point, and or something that suggests he's involved might show up in the show at some point, because he will be the one to ultimately maybe snap her out of her wild state of mind right now. I don't know who else they could bring in to be like, yo, you cannot create your own pocket realm inside of an existing realm without chaos happening.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like,
yeah.
It just can't do it.
Yeah.
If you read like Secret Wars and stuff in the Marvel universe, they try to bring like all the other worlds start collapsing at one point, and they figure out there's two key worlds that you can only save, and the other ones have to just get destroyed or something. I forget how it went, but at some point Doctor Doom merges them together and becomes like the god of this world. Have you read this? It's so good. And you're like,
I'm familiar with it. I haven't read it though,
I mean, it's a perfect way to introduce Doctor Doom if you want to.
I was going to say, do we see a Doctor Doom showing up soon?
If he's got to show up the way he shows up in the comics, right?
Doctor Doom.
Yeah. Like an actual like lives in Latveria.
Exactly.
Like,
yes.
You know,
there's the MF Doom mask and
that MF Doom mask. He does like, is his abilities like, is he like, it's like black magic based, right? technically. I forget.
You know, would be great for him to be brought into
Right.
WandaVision too.
Like he doesn't go to another planet and gain his abilities. He doesn't get it because he happened to be on the ship with the Fantastic Four when it all goes down. He's totally a different character with these abilities, and he's a super smart dude who always makes dumb moves in the movies. And it's
so big, man, like in the comics.
He's supposed to show up like, I don't take shit from nobody.
Right.
And he seems weak in the movies, but this will be a good way to introduce him to the series too, because he could be you don't even have to give him his Doom personality yet, right? You give him his scientist side.
Yeah. No,
you just want him to show up as Doom.
Dictator Doom. Like,
he just shows up and he's like, no one can stop Doom, and you're like, yo, chill out, man.
You know, he spent like while everyone else was having a pity party after the snap. No, he conquered Latveria. We'll have like a whole like prequel about that.
Sure.
And then, like, he's showing up to WandaVision because it's like, this is going to affect my realm. You know, like, you know, make it even like part of the Sokovia or something. Like he just carved out a piece of Sokovia to become Latveria.
Oh my god!
But who's gonna play Doom?
Oh boy, here we go.
Please don't say Nick Cage.
If you pick somebody from Teen Wolf, I'm gonna bounce you out of this call so fast. By the way, it didn't record your cool little Nick Cage Easter egg you gave us.
That's why I think that it got screwed up in the first place, because I talked about Nick Cage Ghost Rider.
Oh no, here we go again. No, I mean, I would love to see a Ghost Rider in the series. There's, he was fine.
He was not Nicolas Cage. No, you want him? You want Nicolas Cage? All right, I'll
honestly, I didn't have a problem with Nicolas Cage.
At this point, Nick Cage should be like the father guy, right? Like
yes, he should be like that old dude in the graveyard. Who
that too.
Wait, they had Ghost Rider on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., remember?
Yes, and he was the next rendition, the version with the hot rod. I like that character, and I don't remember if he comes back, but now they have a space rider.
He soft dies, and I can't remember if he's not actually dead or what.
Well, the Spirit of Vengeance will just,
But I mean, if you get the Mephisto angle, if WandaVision is about to introduce us to a Mephisto angle, there's a ton of other characters that you can pop in, and that's why the Ghost. Anyone who's watching or just tune in, that's why we brought up the fact Ghost Rider exists in WandaVision. You could pop these characters in by saying these other characters exist, which would be a cool way to do it, man. I mean, you could just have them show up, but it's much more fun if you spin it again for the cinematic universe. I know Carey wants to see Mephisto. I'm still like, I don't know how you're gonna introduce that character, but I'm sure they'll figure it out. I mean,
they gave us Guardians of the Galaxy. I thought that was gonna. I was like, oh, there goes Marvel, and then Guardians, awesome. And it's the same studio that gave us Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah,
ridiculous and
Thor Ragnarok was so good.
Is the same guy directing the next Thor?
Because they got Jeff Goldblum.
Right.
That was a hard carry.
That was a hard one. Yeah. Do they have the same director doing the new Thor movie?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
But I also, if we're talking about what we want, I really want Shuri as the next Black Panther. Just putting that there.
That'd be badass. I would love that.
I think she is the next
Her
Black
actress
Panther.
was really good. Yeah, they haven't actually. I think a lot of people are predicting it, so it's probably going to happen. Hopefully.
No, I mean she does in the comic book. She does
in the comics book. She does. I know.
So it's an easy segue.
Marvel hasn't made an announcement yet. They just said, "Oh, well, we are doing another Black Panther."
Well, Marvel did say they will not.
We're not going to have anyone else play Chad. Yeah, we're not going to have anyone replace Chadwick Boseman's character, but that doesn't mean that they're not going to replace the role.
They have to replace the role. So it's just
they have to. Yeah.
Especially since Wakanda is now like such a big player in the MCU.
Tawny said her toss-ups are between Ragnarok and Captain Marvel, and I was like, both those movies were movies that people were like, these aren't going to do that good, and they're both awesome. And know, people had a problem. People don't like Thor for whatever reason, and I'm just like, he's a hard character to bring to film, and they did a great job.
I think Ragnarok really
But Hemsworth is so good.
And Captain Marvel is also. I mean, I get it with the Captain Marvel stuff. I think a lot of people are like, they didn't want to see a female superhero, which is stupid.
Right.
Yeah, it's
I
like,
don't even
come
want
on,
to
guys.
acknowledge that shit.
She's actually one of the strongest characters in that universe. So like,
Exactly.
if you look,
To
you're
everybody who
upset.
feels that way.
I think that some of the fanboys are mad because this female character is now one of the strongest characters, which is like, whatever. I'm just gonna ignore it. You're just noise at this point.
They say that, but now we've got. Well, then they must be real mad about Wanda.
Right.
Have they always been mad about Wanda? Because hasn't she always been a pipe hitting motherfucker? I'm just saying.
I
like,
mean,
it's not like
I'm trying to
it's not
remember.
news.
She was a pretty strong character in the comics. Like, she grew into this ridiculously overpowered character, which is cool. But
Scarlet Witch has always been.
Yeah, she
wasn't always, but she grew into.
She wasn't
her
like
power.
a Thanos type character with her powers, though, right? She was more of a I'm trying to save everybody and make sure everybody's cool, and that's why she creates her own reality and stuff like that.
Just because she's nice doesn't mean she can't slap, though.
Oh no, I'm not saying she doesn't.
She's just holding. She's pulling her punches.
I mean, we all saw her bitch slap Monica straight out of the barrier.
Great. I'm sorry,
Literally.
Monica, but also that was great.
Yeah.
What did she say? Fanboys also hate Brie Larson because they purposely misinterpret and misunderstand public statements she's made. Yeah, I mean, that's a whole other conversation we're not going to have right now. But there is a level of. I thought she was a great.
Brie Larson is named after my favorite kind of cheese, so
Nice.
she's good.
I mean, people were upset when they moved
Get out of here.
when they moved Miss Marvel over to Captain Marvel, and then Kamala Khan becomes Miss Marvel. People were upset by that too. So it says you just can't win sometimes.
Yeah, you just can't win.
Right.
I forgot how we got to this conversation.
Just
I
talking
want
about
Brie Larson to get the haircut from. Does she eventually get the cute short hair that Captain Marvel has?
She has a short
need that.
haircut at the end of Endgame.
at the end of Endgame.
Does she have the pixie cut? I don't remember.
Yeah, I think
that's how
so.
she
Yeah.
I
shows
don't
up.
remember people's hair.
What?
Except Wanda always has great hair.
Yeah.
It's her reality over here.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
What if her hair is like?
No, but I love Vision's hippie hair.
Yeah.
We need to talk about Vision's hippie hair in the 70s when he's got the long. It's fantastic. Paul Bettany, you should consider this for your day-to-day look.
That's what my hair
And you
looks
should
like.
also consider not wearing a shirt, but that's just me.
Relax, Carey. I mean, I think it's. I was a little weirded out seeing Paul Bettany's real face after only seeing Vision this whole time over and over. You know, but I think it's great. I think that guy.
No, the dead Vision weirded me out. I knew it was coming.
That's one of the weirdest
that was-
in the series.
That was a good move,
I didn't
though.
expect
that was a
to
good
see
choice.
that. Tony said we should do a podcast after dark. Yeah, I'll get you guys your own room. No, I mean, I think they said Paul Bettany's. I think he's been in the most Marvel properties right now because he was the voice of Jarvis initially.
Oh yeah.
And then
right.
he became
right.
Vision.
And
then,
he was in Agent Carter, which was fantastic. It didn't get a third season, right? It just got two.
Oh,
I really
yeah.
liked Agent Carter. Agent Carter was another show, though, that was an homage to older show formats, I think.
I mean, Marvel
And it
does
did really well.
Yeah, if you do it well and you do it
Well,
right.
it did reasonably well.
And then now you got to I don't know, man. It's hard to do something like I think trying to pull an old show off in a sitcom style to bring these characters into your reality. They did a pretty good job. I was trying to figure out, the first episode, like we said, was the Dick Van Dyke Show, and the second episode, I believe was it had a little bit of I Love Lucy on it.
Yeah.
And why am I spacing on the other one?
Can't remember.
Because they're old and we're old.
Ah, damn it. I knew the other one. But they show the separate beds and then the clusterfuck that is that magic show is like a top-notch I Love Lucy episode happening right there. And the third one
I loved it, though.
I mean, the third one was felt like a little bit of Brady Bunch.
Yeah.
And I can't there's more than one sitcom happening inside of that world.
Right.
Obviously, that's my point.
It's just like kind of an amalgam. Was anyone else creeped out in that? I think the second episode with the dinner where they had the boss over for dinner when he starts choking and
that's the first episode.
That's the first episode.
That's first episode. Okay. And Deborah Jo Rupp starts saying, "Stop it."
So
yeah,
I was reading up a spoiler on that. One of the spoilers I read on that was that character, his wife, is if you look at her, she's literally like trying not to break character because she doesn't want to give up the fact that this is all an act, but she's also like, oh my god, my husband is dying.
Yeah.
You know, and
she's like pleading.
Just, like, dips in.
It definitely shifted into like a Twilight Zone feel.
Yes,
it really did.
Yeah.
And also, like, did you notice that? So when they were putting up the IDs as they were IDing each of the characters, for one thing, Agnes is the only one that hasn't been ID'd, which kind of tells you she's another anomaly inside of that universe. And the other thing was, I didn't get a quick. I have to watch it again, but were they Shield IDs that were going up?
No, they were just like townspeople.
Just townspeople? Okay. Because they put like they put like what looked like driver's licenses or ID badges next to them, and I was like,
they were Jersey license, like driver's license. And,
so specific to that area. Okay.
Yeah.
And also, they haven't figured out in the show yet. So it seems like the people who are actually from Westview don't remember that Westview exists, and they think they're from a city called Eastview.
Correct.
Right.
But people like Monica and Jimmy aren't affected by that, and everyone outside of a certain radius isn't affected by whatever is causing them to forget that Westview exists. Yeah. So that's another question.
They have done a lot to drive home to the viewer that Westview is a real existing place. From the sign on the interstate, when they exit off the interstate, it says Westview. There's the sign. The cop is standing right next to the sign when he says, "Never go to Westview. I'm from Eastview." I don't think there is an Eastview.
There isn't any.
So okay, here's a stupid question. Because I don't remember, because I haven't seen Endgame in a while. Where was Wanda when everybody got snapped?
Wakanda, right?
They were all
fighting. Yeah, wasn't she in Wakanda?
She was fighting Thanos.
So how did she get back to the U? So she had 3 weeks to get back to the U.S. in the middle of all this turmoil, and then somehow end up in Westview, New Jersey. So why Westview?
So the one theory was that military base that you see is the old base from Captain America. And I forget why she ends up there, but they were doing studies, I believe, on Vision. So she went. Probably that. My guess is some of his data is backed up there.
I think they must have brought his body. There's no reason for them to have left his body in Wakanda for 5 years. Exactly. And he's technically, if he was originated in the United States, so.
Right.
I mean, the Avengers probably.
Of the Avenger headquarters or something too. I mean.
Was he in that headquarters? He was in the headquarters there, yeah, because he gets buried to the floor.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm trying to figure out why that's a good question. Like, why would he end up specifically in that Westview area?
Because I think it's fair to assume that she's in possession of his body.
Yeah.
I mean, that could be a made-up world she created. Like, because the one thing I read online was Westview has a W and a V in it, and in the middle of it, it says TV.
Oh yeah.
It says Westview, WV, and then TV in the center. And again, those are like a stretch on things, but I was like, that's a good one.
Hey, it's like the license plate thing. I'm down with it. I think it's
the license plate thing. I was like, yeah, and then the names at the end, I was like, these names mean. So I had to do a deep dive on those names because I was like, these names mean something because there's the end credits to the show and then the actual end credits to the show we're watching, and then that's how I figured out that one was writers. Three of them are writers. Some of them are artists, I believe. So you're like, they're hints.
I'm interested in seeing how they move forward too.
Dude, there's
we've had the 4th episode, which is where they pull back the curtain and they show what's happening on the other side. And now, are the episodes going to be split? Which point of view are we going to see? Are we going to get another sitcom?
Right.
I hope for both. I hope that they make the episodes longer and we get both.
We at least know we got like a Married with Children sitcom coming up, right?
Oh my god!
I'm so pumped for that trash. Are her kids gonna age? Okay, here's another creepy question: are her kids gonna rapidly age like her pregnancy progressed? Is she gonna end up with like?
I feel like they're gonna stay babies because they never grow up in the comic books, as far as I remember. They're always babies.
I know. I feel like anything to do with kids that aren't real or who aren't going to continue to live is depressing enough. So like. If they could just keep them babies, that'd be great.
Yeah. Maybe it'll be like the Vacation series, like National Lampoon Vacation, where they just like shift up and down in age depending on like what the screenwriter.
Oh my lord! I mean, anything can happen.
That'd be a bit of a ride.
Right.
It would be interesting to see how they move this stuff forward. I had a thought. I forget. Damn, I keep forgetting.
And now we have to wait a whole week.
Yeah, I know. I said that to my wife last night.
That's why I'm standing. I still stand the. I wish they'd have just done a dump like Netflix. I know that's not how Disney likes to roll.
No, that's not how because they
want
just
to
binge it and it'll be done, and they want you to like. I for one I like the weekly thing because it gives you something to look forward to at the end of the week.
Yeah.
Versus sitting down and watching.
Yeah,
a show
I guess
for 8
that's
hours.
true because I don't have the self-control not to just watch it all in one sitting. So I just
none of us
sleeping.
do. If you knew 3 episodes were available, we would all watch all 3 right now.
Yes.
Right.
Like I loved I like the 1 hour episodic stuff because that's like it makes it's like I said, it gives you something to look forward to. It gives you a break to actually sit down and analyze the way we are and decompress on what we just saw, because that was my thought. Because like if you watch the show carefully, there's Easter eggs hidden throughout the set, like the commercials with the toasters, like when you see the toaster, it's making the sound of Stark's
the Stark missile
starting up. So and then if you watch the second one with the watch, it says Strucker, which is the people that were holding her and her brother hostage.
Wait, wasn't there a fan theory that the actors in the Stark commercial were her parents?
Her parents,
yeah, that's a fan theory.
Right.
The third one I think shows them in the grocery store. There's a cartoon version of them shopping in the grocery store, and if you look at there's something in the top right about the name. One of the names is like Geraldine's name or something weird. I forget that. I forget the third one, but it makes you want to go back and
show you forgot. I Love Lucy and Bewitched.
Bewitched, yes.
That was it. Yeah, Bewitched.
That's it, Bewitched.
That opening sequence reminded me of that.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I was like, I knew I was forgetting one, but like, if you go like now, it's like, do I sit down and rewatch to see the backgrounds in these just for these extra little, like even in the end credits, there's stuff
it's
hidden
short
in the
enough
backgrounds.
that you could really.
Yeah.
We gotta make sure we take a timestamp on those time slots to see what those might mean. But
one of the things I love about these shows is when you go back and watch them again, you catch stuff you didn't catch the first time around, or the second time around, and so on.
So you gotta be willing to sit through it.
Like the fourth one kind of broke the whole mystery open. So like you can at least like at the end of the episode they were like referencing echoes and stuff.
Yeah.
They had to break it open eventually because at some point you're gonna lose your audience otherwise.
Oh yeah.
I've been watching.
I think the 4th episode was like the perfect time to do it. You know.
Like, they broke the 4th wall.
Oh, why did they just drop Deadpool in, man? He just shows up. He's the one that's missing. He's Ralph.
Yeah, he's Ralph.
No, I mean I've been watching. Like I've been kind of trying to find there's people that do harder deep dives than we're doing.
Oh sure.
Make YouTube videos. So if you watch some of them are like, yeah, we talked about it's yes. But then occasionally you get one where you're like, I did not like. They're like, if you look at this name and then you make it an anagram, it spells out Mephisto.
Right.
Well, it's not about Lord Voldemort. Are we jumping genre?
But let's
them that there's like Easter eggs where it's like, oh, you're just really reaching. But
some of the reaches.
I don't know if you
like,
heard this, but Snape killed Dumbledore.
Oh.
I did not finish that series. You're a horrible person.
What's that about Grogu? Excuse me?
It's almost like Carey dropped another spoiler. All right.
Ooh.
Let's wrap this up. So are there any other... I mean, we can convene again, do another show after we all watch like 5 and 6 of the series maybe.
Yeah.
But are there any other Easter eggs or things you guys want to talk about? I'm going to check my notes really quick.
Yeah. I just really want the products and the commercials to be like one of those things of like high-end like fan merch you can buy at a con. Like I really want a Stark toaster.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. So the other thing,
I want Hydra soak.
Oh heck yeah!
Oh, I forgot about the soap. That's where the Hydra symbol was. It shows up twice.
But
it's gonna be like cannabis oil infused soap or something, though. In real life,
you might notice that Hydra soap box was a blue cube.
Oh, like the Tesseract?
Oh shit! Man. Yeah, I want some Tesseract bath soap.
Yeah,
I didn't notice
Hook me
that.
up.
Somebody was saying
Loki,
online. Somebody was saying online how the specific commercials have specific colors that represent specific stones. Like the toaster had a red light, which represents the time stone. And then, like you just said, the soap had blue, which is what's the
space stone?
It's the reality stone, space stone, right? Yeah.
Space.
And then I don't know what the watch had. I don't remember but I remember the watch had the Hydra logo on it. That's all I remember from it. But the only other thing I have in my notes is the date.
Oh, that would be the time stone, probably.
Time.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
dude,
duh,
come
'cause
on.
it's a watch.
So stupid of us. How do we not catch that? Tony said, I love how you're talking about a show that just came out, spoilers abound, and then Dumbledore's death, a spoiler alert. I said spoiler alert at the beginning of the show. The last thing I have in my notes is the calendar says June 2nd, which one of the people who had one of the fans online had said June 2nd is actually the date of the Salem witch trials.
Yeah,
which could circle back to
Ooh.
Scarlet Witch and
I like all these
potentially
Easter eggs.
Agatha Harkness, who is a pretty crazy character.
I
if you
love
remember.
who the actress they got for Agnes / Agatha. I mean, she's got to be Agatha. She's so great. Like, I don't know. I think
She just happens to have all the solutions too, so I think that's the key. To
she's
her
very self-aware in a way that she ought not be.
Yeah,
and she's definitely directing things as well. So
yeah, she shows up to help Wanda all the time,
right.
Even to the point where she's looking at Vision like, "Don't do it, man. You don't want to know. Just walk away. Hey, I'm just gonna get on my bike and ride away. You guys all have a good day now, you know." And it's like, go back in your house, man. Okay, so unless
You know what? Wait, though. You know who else rode a bike in that same era of film? Wizard of Oz, the witch.
Yeah.
That's what
Remember?
you just did that.
Yeah.
If they just gave her a little dog, it would have.
Yeah, and did she didn't have a little dog, but
there was no flying monkeys yet.
Yeah.
Yet. It'll be the band, right?
Oh my god.
Right.
Awesome.
Well, we did have the monkeys. You're right. They played for the third episode. Yeah.
Were they called the monkeys?
Oh yeah, we gotta talk about the end credit music, which has slapped. Just saying.
Yeah.
That was it. That's all I had to say.
No, Marvel's usually good about it. Did they have? I'm not gonna go look up the name of that band now. After this, I'm gonna.
The third episode, the end when what's her name gets thrown out, like it's the monkeys that's playing in the background.
What's the name
Daydream
of it?
Believer.
Yeah, Daydream Believer.
Because it tells you what's going on.
Yep, exactly. All right, well, let's wrap this up. Don't leave yet. Thanks for joining me twice. I feel like round 2 went a lot better. I kind of.
The first was just a warm up.
I will obviously test my audio from now on. I'm probably going to make sure Tawny actually checks it before I go. She's been the one that checks it every week, and this is the one time I didn't have her check it. And 40 minutes into it, I got Tom over here saying, we can't hear anything Alan's saying. That's the worst feeling because I did that once on an episode where it just, and people are like, what's Alan saying? And then you guys talk and laugh at something, and you're like, fuck. So.
If it's any consolation, you just gave the West Coast people more time to wake up. So.
Yeah, but it would have been nice giving. Yeah, that's true. I wonder. But this has been a great episode.
Fake everybody out next time.
Well, I've been trying to figure out, Saturdays seem like the logical day to do these shows because people are usually kind of hanging out on a Saturday, not too busy about work or thinking of other things. And then 10:30 seemed like a good time for Central because that's where I live. But I know sometimes I had Devin on who's in California. She had to get up extra early, and I pushed that show
Lauren
time
last
slot.
week, right?
Yeah. So I've been thinking about pushing it to. Kirsten said can confirm need more time to wake up, so it's possible. I pushed this to a lunchtime time slot, and get people. I've also been doing a Wednesday night slot with some artists, which I'll probably have you guys on too. It's literally just like a drink and draw. You just hang out. Share our screens.
Yeah, I saw Andrew was talking about it on Facebook. He was like, "Yeah, I worked on this during." And I was like, "I didn't know Alan had 2 podcasts."
It's the same podcast.
Well, do you link it in the Discord that you're in though? Because I don't know.
I think the first time I did it was last week, so I didn't quite link it. But I'm going to start doing it because Twitch would prefer you stream more than one day a week, and since we're all artists,
of course they would.
Almost every guest I have on here is an artist. For the most 97% of the time, it's an artist. So it's easy to have you guys on and we do art. But we can talk about that in a second. Let me end the stream. Thanks for watching,
what you
guys.
don't know is.
It'll be a secret. Bye.